Steve, today I want to talk to you about something that we hear around the country is, people that are in high school, college, in their 20s and 30s are like, you know what, we just don't have enough money at the end of the month. I don't know where all my money's going. And plus, I have a really good income.
Yeah, I think one of the things we talk about in the book is be careful of the creep of your expenses. And a lot of times that can happen with a monthly payment, which gets into the psychology a little bit in terms of go to a car lot or maybe you make another
Yeah.
purchase. And then all of a sudden it's this purchase isn't tens of thousands of dollars. It's $400 a month. And so a lot of times people think $400 a month, that's easy. I can pull that off. What they're really not thinking of is how many months is it? That's not just all of your purchases. Let's just say it's for 5 years. So it's for 60 months, you're going to be making that $400 monthly payment. But then also, you sort of forget about that payment, right? In a year and a half from now, there's another purchase. You're like, oh, here's another thing. It's only $400 a month. Next thing you know, they start sort of adding up on top of each other.
You can always figure out kind of how people are thinking by how companies market to people. Sometimes they don't even market the price of a new car. They market the cost per month of that new car because like you're saying, people are like, I make $75,000 a year, I make $100,000 a year, whatever that number is. I can definitely afford $400 a month. It's only $400 a month, but there's a lot more to it than just $400 a month.
Yeah, that's the big part here that we also talk about in the book is for some purchases, some it's not going to be possible, like a home, most likely. Otherwise, if you're making some other purchases, if you can just pay for it at that time, it sort of resonates a little bit more on that purchase instead of doing the monthly payment on the car. If all of a sudden it's a $30,000 purchase that you're making, it sort of hits home a little bit more than that monthly payment. Because your point is a great one that they're just going to keep switching out the number of months to hit a number that you need. So if you come in and you say, at $300 a month is what I can pay, great. They can just factor in the numbers to keep the price the same. In fact, it may even go up. And then all of a sudden they stretch it out to 6 years or 7 years. And so you have to be really careful with that because if you ask for a monthly number, they could probably hit it.
And I encourage people to open up your credit cards, your bank statements, and what are some of those reoccurring charges that you're not even using the products or services anymore? I mean, how many times have we been maybe it's an app on your phone that's like $4.99 a month or in-app charges that could possibly come out. And so recognizing those on your credit card statement and then making the extra effort. And if you're not using them and they have no value to you, go ahead and get them canceled. So everything as far as it's only $400 a month, or even if it's only $4.99 a month, all add up to be a huge number if you do that projection over the next 10 or 20 years.
And actually, I remember you talking about this because I know you mentioned this to your customers is that if you've got this big purchase coming up, again, don't think of it on a monthly basis, but think about that purchase in a year from now or even 6 months from now. Are you still satisfied with it? Or might you have some regret because this big purchase that you're making is the gift that kind of keeps on giving, like we were talking about earlier? It could be 3 years, it could be 4 years. And frankly, that's where the power of delayed gratification, which we talk about in the book all the time. That's just one of the most powerful things out there that if you can not make those decisions, it just really sets you up so much for the future.
And how many times could we just go through our credit card statement? If you had a magic red button that you could push that to reverse it, like I really did not need to do that. I really didn't need to purchase that. I really didn't need to go out to dinner 3 times or 4 times in 1 week. And can I get that money back? And really find out what the problem is when it comes to coming up short every month. And it also goes back to it's the little things that add up over time. Sometimes people think it is the big things. And the big things do matter, but a lot of times it's those little tiny charges or those little acts of just impulse to buy things that you want that you don't necessarily need.
Yeah, in terms of you're going to be thanking your future self later, right? We
So
talk
true.
about that a lot in terms of when you're going through your budget on a regular basis, which, as we talk about, hopefully every 6 months, every quarter, every year, whatever it is, being able to go through it. And as you start having more and more expenses, which happens as we talk about in the book when life gets more complicated, maybe you've got kids, maybe you've got a mortgage, things along those lines. It's such a relief when you have fewer line items you have to worry about than all of these things that maybe you did 3, 4 years ago that continue to add up and just unfortunately don't go away. They're just sort of keeping your budget year in and year out.
Yeah, I'm not saying this topic is what sparked us to write the book, but it's one of the very early topics that you and I talked about
Yeah.
when it comes to educating people about the little things that are adding up in your budget and looking at everything. Because a lot of times, I mean, we're all guilty of it. But if you are upset with your progress or you're upset with that you don't have enough money at the end of the month, then making those corrective decisions makes a lot of sense. If you're doing all the right things, we're not advocating that you have to save everything and not enjoy life. But if you have those complaints or you're not on track for retirement, or you're not on track for your college savings, or you're not on track to have your 6 months of cash available for your immediate needs, it makes sense to go ahead and make those corrective decisions and look at the little things, but also get those big things out of your head that it is more than just $400 a month.
Yeah. I think the key takeaway here is probably delayed gratification again. If you can hold off, that's fantastic. And then really think twice about it. Think about your future self, not your current self right now. Things change dramatically from year to year in terms of what is happening. And then the more that you can make those purchases at that time instead of spreading it out over 3, 4, 5 years, because again, those are only going to, that type of thinking is only going to kind of grow over time, the better off you're going to be long term.
Great topic, Steve. Good talking with you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.